welcome. In today's video I want to speak about how I discovered who I am. This video might be about 20 minutes long, so grab a cup of tea and just get comfortable. I want to start with my personal story. So I actually grew up as an immigrant child. My parents moved from Slovakia to Czech Republic, where I was born, and they were speaking different languages, and I always remember feeling like I don't belong. I always felt like I don't belong. I was so jealous and felt so alone with, my friends having aunties, grandmothers, grandfathers, all the family around. And I also grew up in an environment which was quite toxic. My father had alcohol problems. So when my mom decided to divorce for the second time, I think, when I was about 14, we end up being in a refuge center for women, and I remember feeling so much shame about actually asking for help and being helped. I even remember my best friend father actually driving us to the location, and because we were hiding in front of my father, not that he doesn't know where we are. And I also remember supporting my mom so much, being so much in charge, and emotionally kind of trying to solve the problems, and actually I needed her support, but I felt like I need to be there for her. And when my parents divorced, and later years later on, I was living in my first apartment with my partner, and I remember actually every day I remembered praying for the safety of my family and for my friends. I was just religiously doing that every day, and I felt like if I'm not gonna do it one day, something's gonna happen. And I remember one weekend, I think it was Saturday morning, I remember receiving this call. I thought that I never ever gonna get, and it was my father's neighbor, and she called me and she said, "Your father passed away and your sister is here with us." It was a time for me when I was studying uni and also working, and my first reaction was actually to call my employer and let her know that next day I can't be at work, to be that responsible person, and just making sure that everyone is looked after. And I remember that day, I remember that shock coming through my body, this I can't believe it thing, and driving to the place and seeing my mom there, and also having this shameful thought of why did it happen to my father, why did it not happen to my mother. And also my sister was there, of course, and my brother. And when I stepped into the apartment, I remember that smell of alcohol, and also this typical smell of the apartment of my father, and seeing him lying there, and this blood on the wall where he had his head. And I just kneeled down and touched his face, and I remember seeing my brother crying for the first time. I don't think I ever seen him crying like that. And when they took him away, I stepped into the kitchen. That was the same day. I stepped into the kitchen and I saw all this food there prepared for us, because actually this day was supposed to be a celebration day. We were supposed to celebrate my partner's birthday, and all this food prepared there for us, the meat, the lentil being soaked overnight, also this my partner's favorite cheese, and all these goodies. And I just started hysterically going into the action mode, and I just started throwing everything into the bin. But everything needs to be clean. And I also remember like feeling like I need to be in charge of everything, so I was just contacting the whole family in Slovakia because my father's mom was still alive and his sister and all the family friends we were there, and also like going to like pick the coffin and the flowers, arranging everything, and I like maybe a day after he passed away, I just went into the apartment with my siblings and started like what we need to clear, what we need to like what needs to stay. And I just took maybe a week off from my work and from my uni, and when I came back to work, I was just smiling at the customers, pretending that I'm okay, and just thinking, wow, like the life goes on. Nobody really like cares that he died, and nobody is asking me how am I feeling. And I had these like episodes when I just like cried, but like very quietly, like in a like that my partner didn't know that I'm crying. And I remember like years after like my father passed away, just like at the time I was actually living in the apartment. I remember just like going away for my first trip with my partner to New Zealand and just going traveling, and it felt like I needed to escape. I needed to escape that environment, that place. And so I was like at the time really planning everything, how everything is gonna go. And if you ever traveled and did a big trips, you know that nothing usually goes by plan, that the things just happened. And I remember having always prepared like 5 scenarios if something goes wrong, and nothing really worked here. Everything like always went a different way. And after 6 months of like traveling, I've been so stressed that I finally like kind of like gave up. It was like okay, I just like I can't do it anymore, like to keep thinking what to do. And this was my first glimpse of like getting a feminine flow of like trusting that everything will be okay. So after 15 months of traveling, I went back to Czech Republic, and I remember arriving into the apartment and just feeling the same smell, like my father was still there. And I just like was in total like disbelief and like shock. And I was like, oh my god, all this stuff I have there, the clothes and the bags and the bras and things, and I was like, this is not me anymore. Like my me is like in that little bag I came back with. And I remember like feeling really like depressed, and with me or having these conversations with my partner of like what are we gonna do next. Everyone is like expecting us like having a job 9 to 5, like getting a mortgage, having children. And I remember in that moment we were deciding like that we actually don't have to do the things our family wants us to do, that we don't have to inherit the ways of living how they were living, that actually I can choose what I want to do and how I want to do it. And we came up with a plan how actually we can like go back to New Zealand and live there permanently. So we made a plan. So years later, when we actually arrived to New Zealand, I remember like arriving here, and I was like, wow, this is like a home now. But I didn't feel home at all. I felt so lost. I felt so discouraged. I didn't know what to do with myself. I remember like like practicing yoga, and just like I should do this like to feel good and stuff like that. And one morning I remember when I woke up, I had just like these terrible back pains, and I was like crawling out of the bed in the pain. And until that time I always like took some pills and everything was okay. And even when when my father passed away, I remember having like some health issues, having like a tinnitus, and also getting some like pills for my like nerves, and they were so strong. And they also, like, for the tinnitus, they gave me some strong pills like for the, like, something for the brain. And I remember googling it, thinking, oh, this is not very healthy for me, and I actually like felt like that's not gonna help. And I just, like, pushed everything in what I was feeling, and I was like, okay, I'm just, like, gonna go my own way of helping myself by pretending that I'm actually okay. But when I actually crawled out of this bed here in New Zealand and having these like back pain problems, I just felt like, oh my god, I'm only 30. I, like, when I have some problems, I take some, like, pain pills, and I keep repeating this, and is this like gonna be me? And I was like, I'm not gonna go to a normal doctor, because I feel like every time I go to the doctor they give me pills and that's it. Nobody is really, like, nobody really asked me. I had this yearning of, like, telling my like story, what, like, how I feel, but I never did. And when I was, like, in this position of like having these back pain, like, problems, I remember that it was such a breaking point for me, because that moment, that was the moment when I actually decided, like, I had enough of, like, a normal, like, to asking, like, I had enough. And I was finally asking for help, and I decided, like, okay, I'm gonna ask for help, but for a holistic help, because I never tried that. I was very like, oh, I don't really believe in that. But then I was like, there was like some calling, something like that I should try it. So I just found some acupuncturist and chiro. And I remember when I went for my like sessions to this acupuncturist, she was just amazing. She was like such a motherly presence. She was like from the generations of the healers. She was like so calm. And I remember that she was also like, sharing that she's been like healing some monks in Tibet. And I don't know if it was maybe my like second or third session, I kind of like told her some things about my life, about my father. And I remember lying on the bed, like the this tiny light was coming through the window into the room, and I was lying there with the needles in my body, and just feeling this like heat coming like through my body, this like pressure like coming out, and like me like feeling that I want to cry. And I was just like holding in, and just like feeling that I should like scream at her. She told me, ask like if something's going on, or you need like something's painful, just like call me. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna call her, I'm not gonna call her. And then she actually suddenly came into the room, and I was like holding everything in, and I just heard her like voice whispering in my ear of like, it's okay to make a noise, it's okay to let him go. And in that moment I just started crying, weeping, like it's just like coming like through me. And it was the first time when I experienced like someone being present with me and feeling safe to express my emotions. And that was the moment, like from this I've started like I started my healing journey, and so much more happened in my life. I also like realized how my how the emotional, like the physical pain is actually connected to the emotional pain. I discovered a different like been trying and testing a different techniques and tools on me. The reason why I'm actually sharing this with you is that I realized that I am not my story, that I am not my story, that you are not your story, that whatever happened in your life, it doesn't matter if negative or positive, that doesn't mean that it's you. I realized that I can actually choose who I want to be, what I want to do, and like that I am this energy coming through my body, and that I am this safety for myself, that I can actually be my own home, that I am this safety for me. And it doesn't matter where I am in the in the world, that I can be safe with myself as I am. And I just wanna, I just want you to know that you don't have to be like, holding whatever you're holding like in your body for so many years as I did. And if you resonate with my story, please feel free to reach out, because I offer one-to-one coaching. I also do Reiki healing. I also do like a Reiki distant healing. And I also have a personal program, What is Your Compass, where I show all the tools I've learned to be that safety for myself, for like all these steps I like realized to realize who I am, and who I want to be. And if you are not sure, you can also reach out to me. Their email is under the video, and you can have a free clarity call with me to see if we are a match. And I'm so grateful for you to be here with me in this community. So if you are not ready, I feel you, just feel free to subscribe, and keep sharing lots of things through my videos, and I will be. So I'm so grateful for you to be in this community, and thank you so much for watching.